Yo, what is up, everybody? Jump in here. Today I am back on some Diablo 3. I am going to be showing you my wizard build. Now, I think the wizard is by far one of the best characters in this game. They're all really good, but the wizard does stand out for being a little bit unique. There's a lot of different ways you can build her. It really comes down to your playstyle, but for me, I definitely like the critical mass idea, so this is going to be my take on the critical mass build. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and start with my skills, and then I'll show you some of my gear, and then I'll give you a little bit of a preview of some combat so you get a general idea of how I like to play the build. Now, like I said earlier, this is a critical mass build, so I'm going to start with critical mass. Probably the most important passive for this build because it runs off of critical mass. Basically, what this does is that anytime you get a critical hit, it reduces your cooldown by 1 second. So because I'm running certain abilities that have a cooldown, I can pretty much spam those abilities. Critical mass is probably by far one of the most broken passives in the game. So that's all I need to say about it. Now for my primary attack, I'm actually using Shock Pulse. Now it's really up to you what you want to do with your primary attack. You can use the Blade, you can use Electrocute, those are pretty good. I personally really like Living Lightning. It's just kind of cool. You shoot out like a little lightning man. It pierces through enemies. It does like a pretty good amount of damage. It crits kind of hard. I think it's anywhere between 500 to 700,000. So in general, I definitely like Shock Pulse. I think it's pretty good. Next up is going to be Explosion Blast. Definitely like this. It has a cooldown, but it's only 6 seconds, so with critical mass, you will have this come back almost instantly. All you gotta do is hit 6 crits, and you will constantly spam it. Definitely go for chain reaction. I like this because you explode 3 times, and you do a decent amount of damage. It's just extra DPS overall. For my X move, and I actually should bring this up, the button layout is kind of important because of the way I like to play it, but I will talk about that when I give you the preview of the build. But for my X move, I'm using Meteor. Now, this is a little confusing because there's a couple things I need to talk about when it comes to Meteor. Sometimes when I play on Master 5, if I'm going to use Meteor, I do like to use Molten Impact. This crits really hard, in the millions. Generally, I can crit for about 2 million with this. So if I'm fighting like kind of hard enemies like elites or champions or even bosses, I kind of like Molten Impact better for that because, well, I want to hit them really hard. Meteor Shower is definitely better for the mobs, and you will crit potentially up to 7 times, so that's really nice. But I don't know. I generally use Meteor Shower just because when I'm fighting, I know I'm going to fight against more small enemies than I am big enemies. But that is something about Meteor to keep in mind. Now there's one other thing I should bring up. Sometimes I just don't use this at all. There is another really good ability. It's called Energy Armor. I love Energy Armor. The problem is that I can't really fit it on my build right now because right now I'm running a more offensive build. It's really meant for Master 3, but if I'm going to play Master 5 and I'm going to do a part that I know is going to have some bosses or, you know, something like that, champions, or if I'm just dying too much, sometimes you might just be unlucky and you're just dying over and over again. Energy Armor will definitely help you out. The reason why is because of Force Armor. If you're going to use Energy Armor, Force Armor is the way to go. This is amazing. Basically, what it does is that it allows you not to be one-hitted by enemies. Now, things that generally will one-hit you will be certain champions, elites, big enemies, or bosses. What this does is that if you were to, let's say, take a lot of damage, like 200,000, which will totally kill you, instead, you'll only take 35% of that damage, or really of your life. So you will live. You're guaranteed to live through the attack. And with a little bit of convert damage dealt to life, you will pretty much heal yourself right back up. It is a very good defensive skill. So, like I said, this is meant for a more defensive player, or if you're playing on a harder difficulty and you feel like you need the extra defense, go for Energy Armor. if you want the offensive version, you go for the Meteor, and generally I do use Meteor Shower. Now, for one of the most important moves is going to be Frost Nova. Love Frost Nova. It's super good. The main thing about Frost Nova is that it's a AoE attack. It will freeze like almost every enemy if you're playing close range. This build is definitely meant for close range. You get in their face, you freeze them with Frost Nova, and you kind of just spam everything else at them. Now, if you're going to use Frost Nova, definitely go for Bone Chill. It debuffs them 15%. It can be combined with a passive Cold Blooded. So the combination of those two together, the enemies that are frozen will take 35% more damage. And because of the AoE of Frost Nova, pretty much that's about almost every enemy that you're fighting. So very good overall. You have to use Diamond Skin. Now, Energy Armor is good to help you stay alive. It will protect you from being one-hitted. But Diamond Skin will just protect you from dying. Because you can spam this ability, you can absorb up to pretty much 46,000 damage. And that's just amazing. Now, even with the 46,000 damage absorbed, you could still be one-hitted. It has happened to me before, so you have to remember that. But overall, Diamond Skin is super important. It makes you an absolute tank, and it's amazing. Now for Magic Weapon. This is a little interesting because maybe you could avoid using this. I like it though. The main reason is because it gives me 10% more damage and I can use blood magic. Now, the life convert on this is kind of small. It's only 1.5%, but you have to remember, almost every one of my attacks have AoE on it. So basically, let's say I'm hitting 5 enemies at a time, well that's all going to stack up and I'm going to get a lot of my life back. So the low convert isn't really a big deal as long as you're in the mob and you're actually hitting all the enemies. Now, if you're playing with a monk and he's using Mantra of Healing, maybe you could avoid this. Instead, you could maybe use Energy Armor and Meteor and not use Magic Weapon. So there's some strategy there. It just depends on who you're playing with, especially if you're playing with like a friend or something. But overall, I definitely like Magic Weapon, and that is what I would recommend. Now for my final skill, it's just Glass Cannon. All this does, it makes you a little bit weaker, but it gives you 15% more damage. So in general, that's kind of the point of the build, is to be a Glass Cannon. It's all about dealing out a lot of damage and a lot of AoE. Super good. Alright guys, let me go ahead and show you my gear now. For my wand, I'm using the Jester's wand. I really like this one. I think it's one of the best in the game. It comes with attack speed. It comes with critical hit damage on it. If you can find one with a socket, it will really help your critical hit damage overall. Now the mage is, if you're using critical mass, it's all about critical hit chance. You want to hit those crits. But you might notice that your critical hit damage is pretty low compared to something like a barbarian or a demon hunter or a monk. So if you can find a wand that has a socket and critical hit damage on it, that will really help you out. Now the other ability I have on this is critical hits grant 10 arcane. Now that's really important if you want to use the offensive version of the build. That ability will come on offhands and it will come on wands. So as long as you have it either on your offhand or you have it on your wand, you can use the offensive version with the meteor and you should be fine. You can maintain your arcane. If you do not have that ability though, I would highly recommend do not use Meteor and use the Energy Armor just for the extra defense, and trust me, you can easily maintain your arcane as long as you're not using Meteor. Now for my gloves, I'm using the Sage's Gestures. These things are great. If you can find the recipe, or if you can actually meet someone and maybe they can give you the recipe or dupe it to you, I have absolutely no problem with people duping recipes. Those fucking recipes are so fucking hard to get. But yeah, if you can get these recipes, you can sit there and you can make them and make them and make them until you get yourself a good set. The one I have right now is pretty much really good. It could be a little bit better, but overall I think they're really good. It takes a while to actually get a good set, but you know, it's just trial and error. And that pretty much goes the same with the 7 Sins. I made these as well. They have some pretty crazy stats though. Almost 470 intelligence, 470 vitality, and 12% life. So they really help my life overall. The 7 Sins I think are the best shoulders in the game. I just like the ability that you can craft them, because then you just make them and make them and make them and hope you get a good one. Now for my chest, my helmet, and my necklace, I'm using the Tau Rasha set. Now the set bonus itself is 3% fire damage skill and also 3% lightning damage skill. That's not so great, honestly. 3%, it's kind of like whatever, but overall the set is really good. I think the helmet is pretty amazing. There's other helmets that are maybe better because they come with critical chance, they can have attack speed, but I really think that this helmet looks really cool. It has a high intelligence, it can come with vitality. You know, it's just good. It's a very good helmet overall. The chest is just good for vitality and also intelligence, and it will always comes with attack speed, so that's really nice. Now the necklace itself is just freaking amazing. It really is, because it will always come with critical hit damage, and it comes with a lot. I'll show you a couple other necklaces. This one is pretty good. It has 92 critical hit, 9.5 critical hit chance. This one doesn't come with the chance, but it comes with the critical hit damage. So you can pretty much see that, yeah, these necklaces are definitely the best, I think, for the mages. They're very good. They have a lot of intelligence, and if you get lucky, you can get like vitality and maybe some other stat that's really good. Now for your bracers, I highly recommend, if you can get your hands on some prowlers, use the prowlers. They come with attack speed. They can come with critical chance potentially. I don't think that comes on there automatically, but yeah, you know, you can get vitality and intelligence. Overall, the prowlers are just really good. For my offhand, I'm using Shantoto's Force. I think I'm saying that right. I'm not too sure. Now I have another one here. I don't really like this one. It has more damage, but I don't like the fact that I get more health from health potions and globes or whatever. It's whatever. But I really like this one because it has shock pulse damage, and because I'm using shock pulse, that really helps a lot. So yeah, I think that this is the best offhand, primarily because it comes with attack speed. That attack speed overall will really help you out big time. Now for my ring, I'm using the Unity ring. The Unity rings can come with like some pretty good stats. You can also make yourself a Hellfire. You know, the Hellfires can also be very good. But the Unity overall, well, I mean, if you can get the one that has damage, intelligence, critical hit, and critical chance, very good. Now for my ring right now, I'm using a Wailing Host. Another good ring would be the Zuni ring. It's for the Witch Doctor, but overall it can be very good because it can come with attack speed, you know, damage, critical hit damage, and critical chance. So the Zuni ring itself is also very good. It just depends on what you can get for a drop. Now for my boots, I'm using some Anglers. Now I think these are like some of the best boots in the game because they always come with attack speed. I got pretty lucky, I think, because mine has like really high intelligence. They have vitality on them, so you know, they're really good. And then finally for the pants, I'm using the Innis pants. These are the monk pants. They can be very ugly, but yeah, I love these pants. They're the only pants to my knowledge in the game that comes with attack speed. So offensively, like, these are like the best pants. If you can get 2 sockets on these pants, you can put some intelligence on there to help you out. I have vitality, a little bit of critical chance. That's not really that important, but yeah. Alright, so for my belt I'm using the Witching Hour. Now this Witching Hour isn't great. It's okay though. It has decent intelligence, it has attack speed, it has critical hit damage. You know, it's whatever. I'm definitely looking for a better Witching Hour. I will definitely be willing to trade if you guys have one, so you can maybe hit me up. Alright, but that's pretty much all my gear I'm using. Now it's time to show you some Infernal Master 5 with my wizard and my critical mass build so you can get a general idea of how to play it. Alright guys, so this is going to be a really short preview of my wizard. I was thinking that maybe I could do a longer preview, but more than likely I'm going to end up using her during my Let's Play, so I would really appreciate it if you guys could go check that out. And you can pretty much get a longer preview of the wizard by just simply watching it. More than likely I'll be using force armor in that. I really like Meteor. It adds an extra attack, but if I was playing with like 4 people on Master 5, I would just feel like the potential of being one-hitted is so high that I would have to use Force Armor. But for Master 3 and Master 2 and Master 1, I just personally don't think I need it. Like, I don't really have that much trouble staying alive. But staying alive is really important. Now, this critical mass build is just amazing. The main thing you want to do is get in close so that you can freeze them with Frost Nova, and then you're going to use your Diamond Skin, and you're going to use your Shock Pulse, and you're going to use Meteor if you have it on, and you're going to use Exploding Blast. Now, what I like to do is I use my thumb to press A, X, Y, and B all at the same time. So I'm just literally taking my thumb and pressing all 4 of those buttons non-stop. And with my other finger, I'm using that to press the RT, and that is just spamming another attack. My RB bumper is, I believe, Magic Weapon. I do that because I feel like, I only have to turn it on if I die, and it's just on. And if I was to recommend a button to put Force Armor on, if that's what you want, I would recommend B, because that way you can just press A, X, Y going up. Because trust me, your hand can kind of hurt if you're pressing all 4 of those buttons. It can, if you're playing with this chick for like an hour or 2, your hand may hurt. And it kind of sucks, but it's just too fucking cool. I mean, look at this. You look amazing. Other players will be like, oh my god, that shit is OP as hell, because it really is. But overall, that's pretty much how you play with her. You get in close, you use your Frost Nova, you use your Diamond Skin. The Diamond Skin will help you stay alive. The Frost Nova will help you stay alive, and it will debuff the enemies, and you just drop massive attacks on them. Alright guys, now I have a quick question for you. I want to know, what build do you want to see next? So leave a comment and let me know. But that's pretty much it. So I hope you have enjoyed this. Please like and favorite the video for me. I really do appreciate that, and peace out.